David, what speech did you like before? Third speech. He was gone for a few months, but he came back because he had perseverance.
Ring, ring. Hello, this is David. Hi, David. This is Renee calling from the Kellogg School of Management. We'd like to offer you a spot in our winter term. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, do you remember the few things in life that you've worked really hard for? Not the little things, but the big things. The slippery things that when you try to reach out for them, they seem to just want to slip right through your fingers. Well, for me, over the last year and a half, my goal was to attend grad school at Kellogg during my MBA. It was a long path. With every step I took, I felt like the path was getting longer and longer, and I was getting further and further away from my goal. Through this whole experience, what I took away was that being the best that I could be, persevering through all, and maybe with just a little luck, that anything is possible. Let's rewind back about a year and a half. My first hurdle in applying for grad school was tackling the GMAT. From everything I had heard at the time was that I would need about a 700 out of 800 to be admitted to a top program. And anything short of there, I distanced myself away from my chances of getting in. It's kind of a conundrum because a great score was not enough by itself to get me in, but a bad score by itself was enough to keep me out. No pressure. I was terrified. My whole life, I've taken standardized tests and failed them left and right. This one I thought would be no different. Nonetheless, I signed up for a 9-week prep class where I studied probably 10 test prep books and thousands of problems to get ready for this test. And once the class was over, I spent months by myself studying. When I was finally ready, I sat for the first test. As some background, the GMAT is about 4 hours long, and it's a beast. It's computer adaptive, so every time you get a question right, it throws you an even harder one, with no extra time. There's penalties for getting things wrong. There's no going back. And there's score-wrenching penalties if you don't finish the test in the allotted time. So basically it tries to break you. I sat for the test, I finished it. I pressed submit, and waited for the score. It's supposed to show up within seconds. Those seconds felt like minutes. All of a sudden across the center of the screen, my score, and I was dumbfounded. I did way worse than I thought I would. The test broke me. I was hurt. How could I have done so bad? Were the last 4 months of my life a waste? I was left with more questions than answers. Was it just test anxiety, or did I not have a good handle on the material? No matter what it was, I knew I needed to try it again. So I went back home, studied for a few more months, took the test for a second time, came back, 100-point improvement, which was great, but I was still so far away from my goal. So at this point in the story, I'm 8 months into my goal. I didn't know what else to do. The only option I had, that I felt at the time that I had to do, was to retake my prep class. 9 more weeks, 10 more test books, thousands of test questions. I made sure to brush up my skills on what the area of a rhombus was, what the properties of a triangle was, what the rules of sequential numbers were. I had them all memorized. I sat for the test my 3rd time. And at this point, it was about a year since I took the test the first time. The length of time. Sat for the test, 30-point improvement. Horrible. I was a wreck again. Nonetheless, I had to apply. It's, again, just one factor of applying for grad school. So felt like I had everything else. You know, I had a good undergrad GPA, I had great leadership experience with many extracurriculars, good work experience, and good work recommendation I would hope to have. So I went through the process of applying. I filled out my grad school application, and then also filled out the essays. I employed my friends, my family, and my colleagues who had gone through the same process. I wrote, I rewrote, and I rewrote some more. I went through the interview process. David, why do you want to go to Kellogg? David, what can you tell me about your leadership experience? David, if I let you in this program, what would you give back? My head was dizzy. I felt, though, that I presented myself in as best a way as I could. I submitted my application, and just like taking those last 3 GMAT tests, I waited. And time stood still. I looked for the mail every day. I waited for weeks, and then suddenly, hi, this is David. Hi, this is Renee calling from the Kellogg School of Management. What I took away from this experience was that striving to be the best that I could, persevering through all, and maybe with just a little luck, things find their way of coming together. Fellow Toastmasters, if there's something in your life that you would call your calling, stay the course. I'm sure your call is coming soon. Thank you.